So welcome to a virtual college exploration for all West Virginia students. So if you have any questions during the session, please use the Q&A button to enter the questions to the presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are turned off so the presenters won't be able to see or hear you. So it's important that you use the Q&A button. Sign up for more sessions at www.wvacrao.org. There's plenty more sessions throughout the next couple weeks, and then the recordings of these sessions are available at the same website. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the presenters.
All right, thanks so much. It took me a minute to get things adjusted there. I just wanted to welcome everyone to the session this evening. Today's panel presentation is a collaboration between Fairmont State University, Glenville State College, West Liberty University, and West Virginia Wesleyan College. So with that, we will do a very quick introduction of our panelists for today. As the session host reminded you, just want to make sure that you understand to enter your questions into the Q&A area. We'll be glad to answer those questions at the end, and then make sure that any questions that you may think of throughout the presentation, just go ahead and put them down there and we'll make sure to respond to them as soon as we can. My name is Chris Sharps. I'm the Senior Director of Recruitment at Fairmont State University, and I'm going to hand it off to our representative from Glenville.
Hello, my name is Larry Gwynn from Glenville State College. I'm an admissions advisor. We also go by admissions counselors as well. Here for anytime you guys see any questions, feel free to let me know.
And hand it off to our representative from West Liberty.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. My name is Kyle Patrick. I am an admissions counselor here from West Liberty University. And as a student, I was very heavily involved in Division II athletics as well. Like I said, thank you for being here with us today. And I look forward to sharing some information with you.
And our representative from West Virginia Wesleyan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brett Ripley. I'm Senior Associate Director of Admissions as well as Associate Head Baseball Coach here at Wesleyan.
I have to say, Brett's headshot there is a little meaner than the rest of ours, so just have to give him a little bit of credit on that one. So, so the first question that we want to answer today is why Division II? So whenever students start thinking about playing collegiate athletics, oftentimes there's somewhat of a misunderstanding about the different levels of collegiate athletics and why a student would pursue a specific division of NCAA athletics over another. NCAA Division II athletics is the home of the student athlete. The student experience is at the center of the Division II athletic experience. So Division II has over 300 different NCAA colleges and universities that provide thousands of student athletes the opportunity to earn athletic scholarships and compete at a very high level, all while engaging in the classroom and the broader campus community. Community involvement is actually one of the key elements of Division II athletics, making sure that the athletes are out in the community, serving the community in various different ways. So there's a lot of different ways that you can engage within Division II. The really important thing to note here is the breakdown of the different sizes of institutions within Division II. So 51% of Division II institutions have fewer than 2,500 students, and 36% of students, or 36% of institutions have less than 7,500. So between those two institution sizes, you really don't find Division II athletics at much larger institutions. 48% of Division II institutions are public, and 52% of Division II institutions are private. So a really important thing to note is the median cost of attendance, Division I, Division II, or Division III. So you'll find that oftentimes Division II institutions are the most affordable, and as you begin to start your college exploration or shopping journey, that's a really important note to take, especially because Division II athletes are often eligible for athletic scholarships. So across Division II, there are over 308 active institutions, 24 different athletic conferences, One of the coolest things about Division II is the opportunity to play not only at a regional level or a state level, but also across state borders, depending on which conference, athletic conference your institution happens to be in. So some of the specific ways that all of that breaks down is whenever you think about the 44% of institution enrollment is male, 56% of institution enrollment is female, with about 13% of those being student athletes at the Division II level, and about 7% of those on the female side being Division II athletics. So one of the most important things to remember about Division II athletics, pull a quote here from a coach at Millersville University in Pennsylvania, and that it's that not one thing in what we do focuses on winning or championships. It all focuses on the players, their experiences on and off the field, and their journeys to be selfless together. So when you really start to think about what makes up a solid athletic program, it is that focus on and centrance around the student athlete experience. So one of the most important things to think about in Division II is that graduation from college is a very high priority. Something you're going to find, especially at the Division I level, is oftentimes students will exit out of college prior to finishing their degree in order to pursue athletics at a much higher level. At Division II, it's about earning scholarship dollars for your athletic ability and competing for national championships. It's about making athletics participation truly a part of your college experience rather than just one part of it. It's about making lifelong friends at a campus where the size provides for a more intimate setting, like I said earlier, specifically about the campus size of the majority of Division II athletic institutions. It's the university president seeing students out on campus and being able to call them by name and ask how things are going. I know that I see that happen here at Fairmont State all the time. Our university president knows our student athletes and they have a great relationship. It's also about making the academic experience more personal. So whenever you start thinking about what it's like to be a student athlete on campus, it's not all about what happens on the athletic field. It's about what happens in the classroom and the experiences that you can then apply to your student athlete experience. It's about professors, coaches, and staff who are caring for you as a student, not just as an athlete pushing you harder, but also making sure that you're kind of keeping your academics in focus and making sure that you're keeping your grades up. It's also about an experience in which you can be an active participant in that the team sizes are typically smaller and student athletes get a little bit more playtime typically at the Division II level. So it's about a campus that is tight-knit enough to respond to individual student needs. It's about having coaches who help student athletes develop their resume as much as their athletic skills. And almost as importantly, it's about a custom-fit approach to athletics and education rather than a one-size-fits-all approach. So next up, we're going to talk a little about what it means to become eligible and to register through the NCAA registration process. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off for this one, off to Brett.
Thanks, Chris. Again, my name is Brett Ripley. I'm going to talk a little bit about the NCAA Eligibility Center and getting registered for that. If you are interested in any NCAA Division II sport, Division I, Division III, really doesn't matter. If you're interested in NCAA institution and the possibility of playing athletics at that institution, you have to register for the NCAA Eligibility Center. This is what each individual institution utilizes to gain eligibility status for each of their athletes and is required through the NCAA. There's a $90 fee for creating the account. If you are eligible for like test fee waivers through your high school, there are options with that through the NCAA as well. Some key points that you need to remember when registering for the Eligibility Center. This is something you should do as soon as possible. So if you're a junior, you want to do it sometime like during your junior year, preferably, because that's when you can start doing visits and things like that, really with coaches at the Division II level. But you have to be registered with the Eligibility Center before you can do official visits at an institution where an institution helps pay for the cost of your visits, or before letters of intent can be sent by a school, because you have to be added to their NCAA Eligibility Center institutional request list, and you can't be added until you've created an account. The signing periods begin for this year. For all sports other than football will begin on November 11th, 2020. Football signing period begins on February 3rd, 2021. There's 3 key ingredients or components to the eligibility center that you have to submit. That is your high school transcripts. And usually you do that in two ways. You'll send in an initial transcript once you register with the eligibility center, so they can get an initial look at your academic background. And then you'll also have to send official final transcripts once you graduate to show proof of graduation. You'll also send ACT or SAT scores to the eligibility center. Those can be sent directly when you sign up. You can put the NCAA's code, which is 9999, to have your scores automatically sent there, or you can request to have them sent at a later point. And then finally is you're going to request your final amateurism. That is basically just saying that you have never been paid to play your particular sport in any way. And really is a pretty simple thing for each individual to do. So that really touches, the aspect of registering for the NCAA Eligibility Center. The next couple things are going to be how to really make your recruiting process simplified, and kind of some do's and don'ts. Again, I'm associate head baseball coach here at West Virginia Wesleyan, so I work with students on a daily basis throughout the recruitment process. And these are a little bit more of kind of some key things that you should consider doing as you work through the process of being recruited and ultimately deciding on which institution that you're going to attend. First, it is organize your recruiting information and reach out to schools. So what does this mean when I say organize your recruiting information? First, I highly recommend creating a college search or recruiting email. So that might be something like your name and grad year. So it might be Brett Ripley 2020 at gmail.com. Just makes things a lot more clean and professional instead of a nickname or something like that. When that goes through to a coach or to a college, it just looks much more professional on your end. Second, include all of your academic and athletic information in social media bios. So like Twitter and Instagram. Include obviously your name. Because when coaches are searching, if they hear about you, one of the first things a lot of coaches are going to do is go to Twitter or go to Instagram and search your name. You want that to be easy for coaches to find your profile. So, have your name easily accessible. Again, don't use nicknames for your handles or anything like that. Provide your academic and athletic information in your bio. So, say what grad year you are, what high school, position in whichever sport that you're in, GPA, test scores. If you have video links, include that as well. Again, create video to share with coaches. It's so easy in today's day and age. Almost all of us have smartphones. iPhones take great video. You don't need to pay to have big recruiting services create video content for you. You can do it right on your phone. You can have a YouTube channel where you put your videos of, your highlight films from basketball or football or soccer, baseball, whatever it might be, on your own channel. Share those links with coaches, or take video on an iPhone, text it to a coach. Really makes things a lot easier in today's age. You also want to do your research on each school that you're interested in. It's not, as Chris talked about, the Division II is not just about your athletic program, but it's also about, the academics, the social life, the size of the campus, the location. All those sort of things go into your decision on where you want to go to school, not just the athletic program. So you want to make sure you're doing the research. If you're interested in a specific program, you want to make sure that that school that you're looking at has that academic program that you're looking at. Reach out to coaches with personalized messages, whether that's emails or direct messages on social media. When you email, you want that email to be personal. to that coach, to that program. You don't want to send a mass email to 30, 40 schools and have all the schools listed in the same email and just have a generic hello or, good morning, something like that. Because again, coaches are going to see that and they're not going to take it as serious as if you say, dear Coach Ripley, I'm very interested in your program at West Virginia Wesleyan, and really gear the email towards that specific program and that specific institution. That's really how you set yourself apart from some other students. Same thing with direct messages on social media. If a coach has their direct messages open or they're following you, feel free to shoot them a message and let them know that you're interested in your program so you can start building that relationship with them. Next, we're going to talk a little bit about applying, get accepted, and financial aid. This might be one of the biggest keys to a lot of the process is you want to apply and get accepted to schools as quickly as possible. For a lot of schools, really the ball doesn't get rolling on the recruitment process until you've applied and been accepted. And because that really starts the financial aid process, which then includes figuring out exactly what it's going to cost to go to school. Most schools start accepting students in early September. Starting on October 1st, your senior year, you can file the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. And that's going to tell schools other grants and scholarships you might be eligible for, whether that is through the school itself or federal or state grants, loans, all those different aspects come into account when you file the FAFSA. That allows coaches then to be able to figure out exactly what your financial aid package is going to look like and be able to share that with you so you know exactly what it's going to cost, because you want to make your decision an educated one, knowing exactly what school is going to cost at each institution. Some institutions cost differently than others on sticker prices, but again, other schools have more financial aid opportunities. So you want to get into that financial aid package, filing that FAFSA, and really figure out what that cost is going to look like at the end of the day for you. Then you start weighing your pros and cons of each school that you're interested in. Obviously, you're going to look at the athletic program to make sure it's a good fit. The coaching staff, the team, those all fit for you. But you also want to make sure, again, academic programs are right, size of the school's right, social atmosphere that you're looking for is right. Those are all aspects that you have to start weighing the pros and cons as well as cost and really start narrowing down where you want to make your decision. And lastly, when you do make that decision, my biggest advice I can give to students is you're working with coaches and programs and schools throughout this process, and coaches and programs spend a lot of time and effort into recruiting you as a prospective athlete. The best thing you can do is when you make up your mind and decide that you are going to attend an institution, before you announce it on social media, because that's, the big thing now is to put it on Twitter, put it on Instagram, be sure to contact all of the schools that you are actively being recruited by to let them know your decision. It's just out of respect to them and the time that they spent working with you, to let them know nobody's going to be mad at you if you decide to attend another institution. But it just works so much better if you let them know, hey, I've appreciate all the time you spent with me, but I've decided that I'm going to go to this other institution. I feel like it's the best fit for me. That's so much better than a coach getting on Twitter one evening and seeing a graphic of you announcing where you're going to go to school after they've spent all that time. So again, just some do's and don'ts with the eligibility and recruitment process. Biggest things, takeaways are register for the eligibility center as quickly as possible, organize your recruiting information and reach out to schools, be proactive with that, and apply, get accepted, and get financial aid packages from the schools as early as possible to help you make that final decision with the recruiting process.
Very good. That's all very helpful information. Very quick reminder, if you do have questions, go ahead and put those into the question and answer section. One thing that we are getting a lot of questions about in the admissions and recruitment world, specifically in regard to athletics, is about COVID-19 and how that is impacting collegiate athletics. I'm going to go ahead and hand this off for Kyle to handle this section.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. So unfortunately, the Mountain East Conference did postpone sports for the fall of 2020. Unfortunately, as much as, we wanted to have these fall seasons in the Mountain East Conference, it just didn't make much sense, I think, for the MEC to put on a season for at least the fall. They did push it back to the spring, so they have a revised football schedule and all that going on for the fall sports. But they did give the fall students another year of eligibility because they did cancel the championships for those sports. So usually every year they'd have a conference champion, all that different stuff. So they did give the students another option for that as well. And then the MAC just actually announced this past week that the sports that would usually be winter sports that would be starting, basketball, volleyball, that would be starting very soon. That was going to be pushed back until at least January 1st and possibly after that as well. But no decision's been made specifically on the championships or anything like that. But the real reason for, I think, the Mountain East and Division II level is just the need for mass testing at this point. Each institution, they are smaller. They don't have as many resources as like a Big 12 or SEC, that some of these big Division I conferences that are coming back and, that canceled football, now they're back and playing. It's just the resources just really aren't there in Division II level. But I think all the panelists here can agree the Mountain East has done a terrific job handling this COVID situation with just clear-cut communication. They didn't come right out and cancel the fall season for everybody. They tried the best they could to make this season happen, but like I said, it just didn't make too much sense. And then they are going to explore next year eligibility also for the winter students that might not have a chance to compete for a winter conference championship as well. And I want to touch a little bit on expectations for the student athletes that will be starting in the fall 2021. It's too early to really speculate exactly what's going to happen. Hopefully we're all, back to normal and we can have football beginning in August and everything's fine and dandy, but it doesn't look like it's going to be completely back to normal. But, hopefully at that point there'll be enough testing to where, Division II sports can be on a similar level that Division I's on this year, become next fall, and students will be able to play at a normal rate like they usually would. But it'll be something similar to, there are some high schools out there in West Virginia that have been doing different things. I know everything's kind of county by county at this point, and every county is different, but it'll be similar, to the guidelines and everything like that, I would assume, for next fall, 2021.
Thanks, Kyle. Next, Larry's going to talk a little bit more about the recruitment process and most specifically what that process looks like when it starts and how you can engage in that process.
Thank you, Chris. So the biggest thing I've kind of touched upon, most of the recruiting process begins like your junior year of high school. So that kind of brings back to, the YouTube videos, the huddle films, just something to kind of base some of the different opinions on, different aspects on. It's usually what the coaches are looking for, as well as colleges are looking for in general. Collegiate coaches will develop kind of like a collection of names based off of that. On top of that, they do their own little digging on the same process to kind of get that, to kind of turn that into what you would call a visit. They'll reach out to you, bring you down, kind of show you what facilities they have, whether that be, the field itself, maybe watch a practice or participate in a practice, go through the campus tour as well. The college coaches, they check on the previous coaches you had. Most somehow they kind of intertwine. They both have a relationship. That way they can kind of reach out to that high school coach, get a little bit of a status before they can contact you. That way they can kind of get a little bit more of a brief description, what position you might have played, what position you could eventually end up playing. Really just kind of depends on, the aspect of, who and where your status is at that moment. Whenever you get to the school, though, you have to do kind of like a certain enrollment process. They prefer if you get enrolled to at least 12 credit hours per semester and 24 for the entire calendar year. There's some ways around that. I know eventually you have to pass 9, but they prefer the more credit hours, the better. That way that gives you a little bit of flexibility in case something was to happen, say you had to drop out, withdraw. There's different ways to touch on that. So typically, you want to shoot for that 12 to 15, 16 range. That way, just in case you might have to peel back, you can. To kind of touch on the aspect of like D1 versus the D2 versus the D3, the scholarship money options. Everybody that wants to play a college sport eventually wants to work toward that scholarship, that self-righteousness. But The D1 and D2 do offer the scholarship aspect, but see the D3 is more academic scholarship based. D1 versus D2 concept, that kind of comes into what they call a partial scholarship, meaning you can receive anywhere from just an invited walk-on and earn that scholarship opportunity, or you can come out and each progress, you can get from 0 to a solid deal. From the D1 standpoint, I kind of touched on that earlier. You either you get it or you don't. Really just kind of depends on the flexibility. D2 is a little bit more flexible with that, and they do kind of work around that as much as they possibly can. I know any coach will tell you that, any recruitment side of things as well. They're a little bit more flexible than a D1, but they're also, you get that opportunity that a D3 wouldn't be able to offer.
Very good. So at this point in time, we're going to take a little bit of time to kind of unpack each institution individually that is co-hosting. I'm going to start out with what we have here at Fairmont State. So of course, as you can see on the screen here, the different men's and women's sports that are offered. Baseball, men's basketball, cross country for both men and women, football, men's golf, men's swimming, men's tennis, wrestling, and then of course, women's basketball, women's golf, women's soccer, softball, women's swimming, women's tennis, and then of course, volleyball. You don't have to take this information down. You can find all of this contact information out on our website, our athletics website at fightingfalcons.com. So you can find all the contact information, phone numbers, email addresses for all of the coaching staff. You can find all of that at fightingfalcons.com. So just a little bit more about the enrollment process here at Fairmont State, specifically in regard to like what you would need to be doing at this particular point in time. Our application for admission is open at fairmontstate.edu/apply. We do not charge an application fee. It is free to apply. So you never have to worry about paying an application fee or entering a fee waiver. All of that, we don't charge an application fee. It's always free to apply. Due to COVID-19, we are not requiring ACT or SAT scores for admissions purposes. However, we are still highly encouraging applicants to take an ACT or SAT prior to August of 2021 for consideration for our opportunity scholarship. And also you definitely want to have a conversation with your athletic coach about whether that is required for NCAA eligibility. To learn more about Fairmont State, you'll want to attend our Maroon and White Week, which is November 8th through the 14th. That is a Sunday through Saturday. We're having our kickoff event that Sunday. It's all virtual, so you can check that out on our website at fairmontstate.edu/visit. To get the most out of the week, like I said, you'll want to attend that Sunday evening kickoff where we kind of unpack the schedule for the week and let you know what all different sessions are offered there. Traditionally, we would have had a large fall campus visitation day and welcomed all of our future Falcons home to our cozy campus here in Fairmont. But due to event restrictions, we're welcoming all of our guests home online until we're able to have guests back on campus. If you can't make it to our Maroon and White Week, we offer a Discover Fairmont State session each Tuesday at 5 p.m. If you have a quick question or two, we also offer live chat on our website from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. As I mentioned, we aren't able to welcome guests to our campus at this time, but online at fairmontstate.edu/visit, you can sign up to be one of the first to know when we are open for campus visitations. We are planning to relaunch our campus visit programming no later than the week after Thanksgiving. In the meantime, though, you can view our beautiful Hilltop campus and see all that we have to offer in our virtual video tour. You can see the link there on the screen. It's available at fairmontstate.edu/video-tour. In addition, you may also schedule to meet with an admissions counselor Monday through Friday, one-on-one if you have a specific interest in a major or program, also interested in athletics. We can invite a faculty member or one of the coaching staff to be part of your admissions visit. So just make sure that you're taking advantage of all the different visit opportunities that are out there, because this is definitely the time to start completing those college applications and getting your transcript and ACT or SAT scores, getting those submitted for financial aid and scholarship purposes. And also a very quick reminder that the FAFSA opened for all institutions October 1st. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Larry with Glenville.
Thank you. So here just kind of gives a little bit more of a brief rundown of what sports we do have to offer here. We just picked up esports for both men and women's this time around too. But you see the WVACRAO and Tom baseball, basketball for both men and women's, boxing for both men and women's, cross country for both men and women. The wrestling aspect too. Wrestling is one of our newer sports we just picked up. So we're really trying to broaden that out a little bit and bring in more attention, whether that be from any athlete standpoint. The esports kind of brings in a different look as compared to just a typical, what you would consider an athlete. The esport kind of gives you an opportunity to get that scholarship money as well. It's just treated just exactly like a normal sport. Just kind of brings in a different atmosphere, different approach as compared to, a football player or a track and field kid. And all in all, I mean, honestly, they do, the same concept. Majority of our esports team right now are athletes that can't have a season. And that kind of helped out in the long run as well. For our facility standpoint, our facility, it's fantastic. We have the Waco Center. We have the indoor and outdoor complexes for softball and baseball. We do have some different options coming up too. We have a soccer field. We're getting ready to kind of broaden that out as much as we can. We do have an open campus right now, so you can schedule a visit with us here at our website or our link right here above. We do have this fall bash coming up actually this Saturday, the 17th, starting at 11 o'clock. You can go to that website right there with the link. We have a Twitter page as well. Feel free to give us a follow and give us a shout out. You can go to our athletics page here at allcapsgscpioneers.com, kind of get a little bit more of a rundown on, your athletics side of things, as well as, coaches information. Or you can reach out to me with my personal contact info here with my office number, my work cell, and also my email that I check pretty frequently as well. So feel free to give me a shout whenever you guys have any questions, and I'll be more than glad to help you out.
Thanks a lot, Larry. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Brett.
Thank you, Chris. Again, here are the sports that West Virginia Wesleyan offers. Mostly your basic sports that all of our other Mountain East Conference schools offer. We also, one sport that's not listed here, as Larry just touched on with Glenville, is we also offer an esports program as well. Ours technically doesn't live underneath our athletic department, more on the campus life side of things, but we do offer scholarships with our esports program as well. And we pride ourselves athletically on being successful on the field as well as in the classroom here at our home among the hills of Wesleyan, and have been very successful in both the Commissioner Cups in the past, which is awarded the best overall athletic program, as well as our academic honor roll, having the most student athletes in the Mountain East Conference receive academic success in the conference as well. Our campus is open. We've been accepting visits in person through the admissions office since June. We've started off with 1 visit per day. We've expanded that now to 2 visits per day through the admissions office. Our athletic coaches are also having visits through their programs outside of admissions. So again, it's very easy to sign up for a visit through us. If you just go to wvwc.edu, you can sign up there for an individual visit. We also have 4 virtual fall open houses coming up. Our first fall open house is this weekend, and it'll run from 10 to noon virtually. You can sign up at wvwc.edu. We'll have 3 more. One will be on October 31st, another on November 14th, and our last one will be on December 5th. You also can reach out to our admissions counselors at any point to set up one-on-one virtual meetings if you'd like, or again, you can sign up for a on-campus visit through our website. on the screen now is my office phone number. Office phone number you can call or text. If you text, it pops up on our computers as well as our cell phones. Email address, you can feel free to email at any point. Again, from an admissions financial aid standpoint, setting up a visit, I highly encourage students to visit wvwc.edu. And from an athletic standpoint, go to wesleyanbobcats.com.
Thanks a lot, Brett. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Kyle.
Thanks, Chris. So yeah, as Brett said, your pretty standard sports we have here at West Liberty. Our newest sport, acrobats and tumbling. We did just add men's soccer recently as well. We just opened a brand new soccer and track complex on campus, a beautiful facility. We are the Hilltoppers, so our mascot is a bear. We are on top of the hill here in the Northern Panhandle, and we've had a few bear sightings as well. So you got to be careful up here, that's for sure. On top of our Division II athletic sports, we do offer intramurals as well. So if you're a student that is maybe pursuing a Division II sport, but maybe you have a change of heart, or maybe you don't get picked to be on the team, you can still explore the intramural options we have on campus: basketball, flag football, all the different options. It's really popular here on our campus. As Brett said too, you can visit us on the admissions website as well. It's just westliberty.edu/admissions. Our campus is open to visitors as well. We are offering 2 tours a day, 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. So if you are interested in coming up and touring campus, definitely do that. We'd love to have you. We are having some virtual events. We're not having any large gatherings, as Chris said earlier as well. We are having our first Black and Gold Day, actually this evening at 6 o'clock. So if you're interested in learning more about West Liberty, you can still go on there and register before tonight, but there's going to be several throughout the semester. Another thing we're doing this semester is Meet Your Major Days. So if you're interested in business, or maybe you're interested in pre-med, something like that, there will be specific virtual events for those majors. So, as we've all touched on here today, athletics is important, but you want to take into great consideration your academic program, what school you end up attending as well. It's you're a student first, and then you're an athlete second. That's the motto we play here at West Liberty. And if you are interested in just viewing our athletic website, contact information for the coaches are on there, hilltoppersports.com. They are also doing tours as well. So our athletes get toured by the coaches, but you can set it up through the admissions office as well. My email's on there. Check my email frequently every day. And then there's my office phone as well.
All right, thanks a lot, Kyle. So we're going to go ahead and handle some questions that are often asked by students. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to toss this question off to Brett first. Oftentimes a student has lettered in multiple sports in high school, and they may be interested in pursuing multiple sports at the collegiate level. What advice would you give to a student who is looking at multiple sports or trying to decide which sport is their best fit at the collegiate level?
That's a great question. As you said, there are several athletes that are looking to do multiple sports, and it might vary per institution that you're looking at as well. At West Virginia Wesleyan, we strongly encourage students that if they are interested in multiple sports, we're going to do everything we can to make that work. The biggest thing is figuring out your time management when it comes to the sports, because there's our criteria for the NCAA, where when you're in season, you're only allowed 20 hours of practice time. And that is per athlete, not per sport. So if you're a 2-sport athlete, you can't do 20 hours per sport during that week. So if you're a football player and also running track, you're probably in the fall going to in a normal year, use up your 20 hours in football. So you're not going to do a whole lot track-wise. And then in the spring, it's going to be changed over, and most of your hours are going to be taken up, with track in that situation. So it's really figuring out if you're going to be able to manage your time well, making sure it's going to work at a particular institution. If you really want to do both, you need to speak with both coaches, make them aware that you would like to do both, and make sure they're okay with it, because most schools are at our level, but again, some schools might prefer you only to pick one. If you are trying to decide which one that you might want to do, for me, it comes down to, which one do you enjoy the most? Because, at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're enjoying your experience and you're going to want that to be, more than likely the sport that you enjoy the most, will help make that decision.
Excellent. The next question I'm going to go ahead and toss off to Kyle. What do students do if they have a conflict between their class schedule and their athletic practices?
That's a great question. We get asked this a lot in our virtual events, and I think it's a great question to ask if you're an incoming athlete. At a high school level, it's a lot easier to manage that because most of your sports are going to be after hours. But, the Division II level, especially in the Mountain East, I know Brett can definitely speak to this. There are some lengthy trips, especially probably from Wesleyan to Notre Dame College, which is located in Ohio. So a lot of time you're leaving, well before, 6-7 hours before that game time might actually be. So you're missing classes. You might be missing important deadlines in those classes, tests, assignments that come up. I know at least here from West Liberty standpoint, our professors are great with working with athletes as long as the athletes are in constant communication with those professors. So if you leave your professor in the dark and don't let them know, like, hey, I'm leaving for a 2-day road trip for baseball, and you just blow off class and then you come back 2 days later and be like, what did I miss? That professor might not be as cooperative with you as if you email them earlier that week, hey, here's my schedule, I'm not going to be able to make it to class. They're very well likely to give you a rundown of what's going on, maybe have a time to meet with you during office hours, or in today's world, maybe a Zoom meeting, whatever it may be, and get that straightened out for you.
Very good. Next question I'm going to toss over to Larry is, as great as it is to attend a small institution, oftentimes that means also your facilities are a little bit limited, or you have competition for space among different teams. How is that handled at a smaller institution?
When it goes down to it, that's usually another question you ask here too. We have football, we have soccer, we have track and field using the track at the same time. On top of that, actually the local high school rents our field for Friday nights. So you have to work around that as like a time. Usually they plan that in like a big meeting, usually with the AD and kind of like the panel on the board here. They'll kind of go through kind of set times for everybody's practices, and you have to, work around what practice time you get. So that whether that be a 5 a.m. to 6:30 or 7 to 8:30, really just kind of depends. Each sport has their own like set time and date based off of that meeting there.
Okay. So the next question, I'm actually cycle through all of you guys, and that would be, what is the number one piece of advice you would give to any student who is looking to play athletics at the collegiate level? Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, that's a good question. The best piece of advice I'd get, and I know we've all touched on this, is just make sure you're picking the right school. Especially when you're going Division II. You got to really put into effect, the program that you're looking for. I know Brett talked about earlier, the size of the school, what's the social life like? Is it really a right fit? And I think the most important thing you can do in the admissions aspect when you're looking at different schools, and especially the athletics, is be on that campus, tour that campus. And once you know it's the right fit, you usually know, but you want to take every single thing into consideration.
Up next with you, Brett.
You stole my answer, Kyle, but no, that's a great answer. As you said, it's there's so much more into it at this level than just the athletics point. It's the whole thing. I'd probably add another piece of advice is it's along those same lines of you're picking the college or institution for the whole package, not just the the academic or the athletic package, the whole thing that you're looking at with that. And also, you have to look at it not necessarily picking a school based off of an assistant coach, especially assistant coaches, because again, in a coaching world, coaches change a lot. And especially at our level, from an assistant coach standpoint, I'm one of the few. I've been here, this is my 15th year at Wesleyan, and most assistant coaches at this level aren't at the same place for 15 years. Head coaches, will be there for an extended period of time, but making sure, again, you're looking at the whole package when making your final decision.
And go ahead, Larry, same question. What advice would you give?
kind of agree with both. Both of them were fantastic answers. Really just, like I said, comes down to, touring the campus, getting a feel for it, whether it be a smaller campus for like a smaller D2 or a bigger D2. It kind of sanctions into kind of like what Brett said. You're there for a reason. You want to understand that, whether that be the academic standpoint or the athletic standpoint. So you want to make sure that you're going to be happy there regardless of your choice.
All right. Thanks so much. We are right at time. So I want to thank all of our participants this evening, all of our panelists, and the students who attended our session this evening. The session will be available recorded on the website, so it will be accessible later. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back off to our session host with West Virginia ACRO.
Thanks everybody for joining us today. Once you close, there'll be a quick survey, 4 questions that should appear to help us make the experience better for everyone. Again, there's more sessions available later in the weeks. That's at www.wvacrao.org. And this session will be available within a week, recorded at the same website. Thank you very much.